Now, so far, we've been able to cover all these topics in this series on Python for network engineers for absolute beginners. And in the last one, we talked about how to write the Python code in the CMD in the interactive shell and how to use idle to write the Python code in interactive mode as well as in the scripting mode. Idle, extremely important, and I've used it a lot. And then you have many online compilers as well that I talked about in the last video. So today we're going to take a look at the other options that are available for writing the Python code, which would include, for example, VS Code, for example, Jupyter, for example, Sublime Text Editor, and so on. So let's jump right into it. You can start your journey in Python programming with Google Colab. What's great about it? It's free. It's a cloud-based platform that allows you to write and execute your Python programs directly in your browser. There's no installation required, no complex environment configurations required, and it comes pre-installed with most of the libraries that you'll need. You simply need to head to this link, which is collab.research.google.com. I'm going to place this link in the description. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. So let's go to the URL. We're talking about research. Perfect. This is the first page you're going to land on, and these are the different notebooks that I've created. Don't worry about these. I'm going to explain it to you later on. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and click on cancel. So this is the page you're going to land on. Make sure that you're logged in as well. The first thing you're going to need is go to File and say New Notebook in Drive. Great. You're looking at a Jupyter notebook. Now think of it as a digital lab notebook where you can mix executable code, rich text, images, all in one place. It's perfect for documenting your scripts as you build them. Let's talk a little bit about this interface. It's quite simple, and you have two main types of cells. If you haven't already, please consider liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing to support my work. Thank you so much. You have the code cell, and you have the text cell. Now, the code cell is where you run your Python commands. And the text cell is basically used for Markdown. It allows you to write notes, headings, explanations, to basically keep your work organized. I want to show you that as well. Don't worry about it. So to run a cell, you just go ahead and click on this play button. So let me give you an example right here. So I'm going to print the network Viking. All right. In order to execute this, I can just click on this play button right here. Now I clicked on it, and it's going to take a couple seconds to go ahead and execute because this is the first time I'm running it. So once it's executed, you'll see the next cells are going to be, okay, quicker. Now I can say code, and then I'll say, for example, A equals to, or maybe like a string, right? str, and then say the network Viking. And I can also do Shift Enter. So it's not necessary that you go ahead and just click on this play button. You can just simply press Shift and then the Enter key on your keyboard to run it. Right now, if I go ahead and just say strr, which is this variable, I should be able to print the network Viking. So go ahead and say Shift Enter. Okay, the network Viking is the output. It's that simple. Now, print is an inbuilt function. You can use it to print the output, which in this case is the network Viking, which is a string because it's inside the inverted commas. It could be double inverted commas or single inverted commas. But if you use double, it should be double on both the sides. If you use single, it should be single on both the sides. And you can put whatever inside these double quotations to go ahead and print it out. Let me just clear the screen. It's a good habit to go ahead and rename your notebook. So just go ahead and say, for example, I'm going to say Google Colab demo for me. I mean, you can name it whatever you want. Like you saw day one, day two, etc. for me, right? When the screen loaded. So yeah, you can do that as well. So just go ahead and name it whatever you want. That makes more sense to you. You can name it day one as well because you just started using Google Colab, and naming it day one with a practice and so on, it's going to help you understand what you did on day one, day two, day three, and day four, and your progress is actually saved because you've logged in as well. Now let's take a look at an example that's slightly more relevant to networking. Just paste it in here. Now here what we have is a list. Now this is the name of the list. It's IP underscore addresses. You can name it whatever you want. You have the square brackets right here. And then these are the list items. The first item, the second item, and the third item, indexed as 0, 1, and 2. Don't worry about it. I'm briefly talking about it right now. I'm going to talk about lists in detail in a separate video. Just for the sake of this example, I'm explaining it a little bit. All right. So we got 3 list items, and the list name is IP addresses. Now I do a Shift Enter. Okay, perfect. Now if I go ahead and say IP underscore addresses and hit Shift Enter, I should be able to see these 3 items in here, right? I can use a loop as well to go ahead and print these as well. For example, this is a for loop. Don't worry, I'm going to tell you how it works. And as I mentioned, I'm going to talk about this in detail as well. So you have a for loop right here, and we're saying, you see this IP addresses right here. Now this is the same as this one, right? Now we're saying for IP in IP addresses. So it's going to take these values one by one. Okay. In the first iteration, now it's a loop. In the first iteration, it's going to say, hey, print checking connectivity to, and then replace this with the first one. And then in the second iteration, it's going to go ahead and replace the IP with that because it's a variable right there. And then in the third one, it's going to use the third one. Now we're saying use the IP variable here, and with this curly braces and so on, it's because we're using this F string. I'm going to talk about that as well, but just for this video, I'm going to quickly wrap it up and just show to you how it looks. I say Shift Enter, and voila, beautiful, checking connectivity to 192.168.1.1, checking connectivity to .2, and then .3, and these are these three items right here. Perfect, that looks beautiful. That's the kind of stuff we're going to do when we deal with real networking devices. Another thing to notice here would be the space that we have right here under the for loop. You see, I put some space in here. Now, this is usually a tab, which is equal to 4 spaces. Now, I don't use spaces, I use tabs. I prefer tabs. So I use one tab and then this. So for example, if I go ahead and remove this tab, right, it's going to throw me an error. There you go. Because indentation is extremely important. And it says indentation error right here. Expected an indented block after for statement on line 1. There you go. So in order to fix this, I go to the print statement again. I press the tab key, and that's it. I can do a double tab as well. But the thing is that it should be indented. That's it. Now, if I go ahead and run it again, I should be good, even though I pressed tab twice. I hit enter. There you go. If I do a single tab as well, that should be okay. I do a shift enter. There you go. Perfect. Now, because there is indentation, as long as there's indentation, we should be good. But I usually prefer 4 spaces. Tab is usually 4 spaces. Anyways, so do a tab, and that should be good. If you prefer double tab because it's just taking 2 spaces for some reason, do a double tab if you want. Now, you can mount your Google Drive by clicking the folder on the left side. Now, this allows you to save your scripts and load configuration files directly from your cloud storage. So this is the folder icon I was talking about. Now, I'm going to show it to you when we deal with files as well, so don't worry about it. Now, let's say you want to go ahead and install a library. There's a specific library that you want to install that's not in there. So what you can use is you can use a pip. Again, I've talked about pip in great detail in the previous videos, so take a look into that if you haven't already. So you can do a pip install, let's say, netmiko, right? And I do a shift enter. That's it. So it's going to go ahead and do its thing. It's going to install it right there. Perfect. We're good. Now, once it's successfully installed, you can go ahead and use it in your program as well. You can say import netmiko, for example, right? I'm going to talk about netmiko as well. I've talked about it a little in my previous video. Go ahead and check it out if you haven't already. But anyways, I'm going to talk about netmiko in great detail in a separate video as well. To wrap it up, let me just tell you that Google Colab is the most accessible way to start learning Python. It removes the installation headache so you can focus entirely on logic and automation. I'm going to talk about VS Code, Notepad++, and, for example, Sublime Text Editor, briefly in a separate video. But we're going to use Google Colab for coding. So happy coding. Let's begin with it. Go ahead and give it a shot. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. I wish you the best of luck, and we'll see you in the next video.